It is Monday, August 8th, 2022. This is another edition of Baseball Today. We'd like to welcome on a brand new sponsor. Today's program is presented to you by True Classics, the best fitting shirt, whether you got a Trevor Plouffe or a Chris Rose bod, you can look like the best dude on the block. We'll tell you how momentarily. It's good to see you, my friend. I want to thank you publicly, first of all, for waiting for me at LAX. You did not check a bag, unfortunately, because I was gone a little bit longer time and brought all my podcast equipment. I had to check a couple bags. I was worried that I had lost them last night. So I just want to thank you. And boy, it was such a pleasure traveling with you last night from Newark, even though in our beautiful first-class seats, they had this divider that you could put up with the switch of a button, and you made fun of me on your Instagram with it.
I just loved having it because it's like essentially was a real life mute button. And so, you know, when I wanted to chat with you, it was down. And when I was like, you know what, I'm sick of this. And I just would press the button and it would slowly rise up and cut you off. And then I was able to watch, what did I watch? Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. I watched Jimi Hendrix documentary. I watched the Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys documentary. I watched a bunch of stuff last night, but dude, great weekend in New York. We had some fun times, had some good eats, watched some good baseball. Love you, bro. But I'm back.
All right.
I'm happy to be back.
And while
Monday,
you were watching
Baseball Today,
while you were watching Rocco Baldelli blow up on your cell phone without any headphones, the dude behind you obviously was not a fan of that and told you to quiet down.
I was like, what'd you say to me? Put your shoes back on, you weirdo. Anyways.
He did have his shoes on.
I didn't say that.
I didn't disgusting thing on a plane. Don't ever do that. All right, here we go. I'm wearing my Mets hat today. Why? Because the Mets took 4 of 5 this weekend against the defending World Series champs. Braves Sunday loser Spencer Strider said afterward the Mets got a bunch of lucky hits against him. Said they're rolling right now in August, which is great, but we will see in October. What I see right now is the Mets with a 6.5 game lead over the Braves. So how much of a gap is there between these two teams right now?
It's a 6.5 games. Pretty big gap, dude.
Come on now.
Do you know what I mean? Look, the Mets have done it without DeGrom. Okay. They have done it. They have more than treaded water. They have been a great team without this guy. And you saw what he looked like when he came back. You add him to this roster. I mean, obviously that's going to add to the separation. So I think the Braves are going to be okay. I don't realistically think they have a ton of chance to win the division. So they're going to have to probably play and host a wild card game, I'd assume, but they got to continue to play good baseball. This is the type August, man. It is a difficult month for players, but this is a time where teams fall, teams rise. Like the dog days can separate and make a division completely different. So I think the Mets are in position to win the division. I think the Phillies are coming up on the Braves. I think the Braves have to take a look at the mirror and say, look, it's okay where we're at right now. We got to continue to play good ball. And I don't even mind Spencer Strider saying stuff like that. That's how I want my starting pitchers to be. I make fun of them all the time for being like prima donnas and whatever, but like I want him to think that he didn't get beat, that they just got lucky. I want him to think that every single time he takes the mound, that he's the man. You have to think that way.
Well, I don't know.
I don't love him coming out and saying that, but I don't know. I want him to think that way.
The one game, the Braves, that's fine. I agree. You got to think that way. But I'm more of a tip of the cap guy. I just think sometimes it makes you look foolish. Like when you say, well, they got lucky. Like, really? Did they get fucking lucky? So what does that mean? Does that mean your Braves hitters got unlucky when they swung and missed at 18 of Jacob DeGrom's 33 sliders?
I think so. That's exactly what it means.
Yeah, I don't understand it. When the Braves, the one game they did win, Taijuan Walker got knocked around. And what did Taijuan Walker say afterward? He was like, I didn't have it. They beat me. And so I think he'll be better off because of it. I know that, and by the way, Spencer Strider has barely been here, right? I mean, he's just starting out his career. So I'm not going to sit here and judge the guy over one aloof comment or whatever it is. I would just say, hey, take your whooping and move on. And by the way, I still don't think the division's over, but I will say this. If the Braves and Mets would play in the postseason, it would most likely be in the NLCS. I just don't think anybody's going to catch the Dodgers for the 1 seed. The Braves would be a 4 seed or a 5 seed or something. That's where I see this going. If they have to play them, They're going to have to face Scherzer twice and DeGrom twice. Good luck beating those guys, because it sure as hell didn't happen this weekend.
It's incredible. And going back to the Strider thing, like, yeah, I guess I kind of do agree with you. I'd rather him not, again, say that out loud, but I do want him thinking, like, I don't want him out there, especially a young guy, being like, oh, they beat me, they can beat me. I want him thinking like I'm invincible, because that's kind of the way he pitches. So I think that's where he was going with it, essentially. But it came out pretty bad, and I understand why people would look at that and be like, what are you talking about, bro? I get it. They got beat, man. That was a bad weekend for Braves baseball.
Well, and by the way, all Spencer Strider and any Braves fan who thinks that the Mets got lucky this weekend just has to listen to their World Championship manager, Brian Snitker, and I'll end it on this. Snit said after yesterday's game, if anything, the Mets are getting better. That's saying something for a team that's been pretty damn good. And, oh, by the way, for all you Mets fans who are like, God, we didn't do enough at the trade deadline, you got Jacob deGrom. Let me know if there's anything better from a pitching standpoint. I'll wait. All right, top three teams in the American League Central. It continues to be a jumbled mess, which is going to be a lot of fun down the break. You got Minnesota, then you got Cleveland, then you got Chicago. The three of those are separated by 2 games. Minnesota losing a tough one at home against Toronto in extra innings. Whit Merrifield tagging up, gets thrown out at the dish. There's a challenge. Then there's a reversal on the call because Gary Sanchez blocked it. First, here is the reaction to Alan Porter making the announcement to everybody that there's been a reversal. And then here's Rocco Baldelli's response after the game.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. There was a violation by the catcher. The runner is safe. Toronto will retain their challenge.
That play has virtually never been called. And for someone to step in that situation and ultimately make a decision that was blocking the plate, that's beyond embarrassing for our game, for all the players out there on both sides of the field working their ass off for the entire game. It's completely unacceptable. I can't even believe I'm sitting here talking to you guys about this right now.
I want to say this, first of all. I love Rocco Baldelli. I always have as a manager. I think he's done a phenomenal job up there. And dude lost his shit. If you have not seen the explosion, please just watch our show. If you're just listening to our show, bring it up on YouTube, because I didn't even know he had the John Smoltz haircut working, but it was unreal.
God.
Now, do you agree that it was that egregious a call and and terrible for the sport, the way he phrased it?
He went off. Terrible for the sport. He went all the hyperbole you could think of. He was obviously upset, and I think he was just in being upset. I probably wouldn't have gone to the extent that he's went to, because he's going to get suspended, I believe. But the call was horrible. The call was horrible, dude. I mean, if you just look at the first couple frames when Whit Merrifield's sliding in, there's plenty of plate to go to. Most guys go to the outside, whether they, slide head first now and put their arm out. You shouldn't do that, but some guys do. Like, there was 100% a lane there, and they got the call right on the field. And then, poor Alan Porter, my guy, has to relay that message from Jordan Baker. Don't shoot the messenger. And at least Rocco came and said that these guys on the field, it's not their fault, but it was Jordan Baker in the booth in New York. And I don't know what he saw, dude. I think they said that Sanchez moved first without the ball to block the plate, but pretty much the entire time there was plate to get to. And Whit, knowing the rule, slid directly into Sanchez because he was gunned out by 10 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he tried to exploit the rule and even said, like, hey, maybe they'll change it up in New York. And they did. And you mentioned, Chris, the Central's a mess. Everyone's there. That ended up being the winning run. Like, this could be the game that keeps Minnesota out of the playoffs. That is why Rocco is so frustrated. That's why he's so frustrated. They did everything right. And then because, I don't know, Jordan saw something, they end up losing the game. So I understand his frustration. He went pretty far in the post game. Chicken shit is a word that doesn't get thrown around a lot anymore. So, like, that was a nice throwback, I'm in on it, dude. Like, I think, like I said, he's just I wish they just would have got the play right, man. I don't know. Do you see it differently?
No, I don't know how you could reverse that one. Listen, me being a Cleveland fan benefited from it, but I'm in Rocco's circle here. And I love it that he came out and how many times have we heard a manager or coach in pro sports say, you know what? I'm not going to say anything about it because I like my money. Rocco don't give a fuck. He's going to get fined. You're right. He might get suspended for that one. Although I would hope that the league would look at it and say, hey, listen, we want passion from our guys. We understand we have to protect the umpires to a degree, but man, that's like, if you just look
I have an
at the
idea.
play.
I have an idea. Why don't we suspend Jordan Baker? Because that was horrible. Do you know what? Like, there's no accountountability. There's no accountability. I know there's not. But we talk about that on the show all the time, Chris. And maybe that's another reason that Rocco's fed up.
There was another play just like that in the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game where Robinson Chirinos was called for it. And Derek Shelton said, we didn't even have to go look at the replay. We knew it was a pretty egregious call. So they were a little bit different, but the idea is the same. I just love hearing guys fucking lose because you know what? With the replay, we get so little of the umpire-manager interaction anymore. So when Rocco frickin' fired his hat
right. You gave him the John Smoltz cut? Jeez, man. You're going after him, huh? You didn't know that?
I didn't know it was that. I thought it was all tight on the side. I thought he was fully bald, but all right. Sorry. Okay. Speaking of looks, we want you here at Baseball Today to look your best. We understand that not everybody can look like Trevor Plouffe when it comes to the body. You can't be a 36-year-old former pro athlete that's got ripped abs and just looks great all the time, no matter what he's wearing. There are people, we want you to not be self-conscious about how you look. You still deserve to look and feel great. And that's why I want to tell you a little bit about True Classic. Okay, True Classic has already helped over 2 million men finally get a better fit at an affordable price when it comes to t-shirts. In fact, our listeners are going to get access to the best deal ever. For a limited time only, you get 25% off with the code today at trueclassic.com. Now, we're both wearing our True Classic shirts. As you know, if you've seen us in person, Plouffe, chiseled, actually is playing well below his playing weight. He looks like a male model, right? If you've seen me in person, people go, oh, you look a little different than I expected. Yeah, I'm a little bit frumpy. I'm in my dad bod. I'm okay with it. I'm trying to improve it. But in the meantime, I still want to look nice. So I put this t-shirt on for the first time ever. I walk past Michelle. She goes, that is a nice shirt. No bullshit. That's what she said. She goes, that looks nice on you. And I was like, it's one of my new True Classic shirts. So they got them all. They also have workout wear. They've got polos. They've got everything. And by the way, if you're a bigger boy out there, they got that as well. They go up to triple XL in a staple of colors. Blue's got what? Do you have the black or is that blue? I can't tell.
This is navy, and I actually didn't know that we had a new sponsor today, so I just grabbed the shirt. I put it on. I was like, wow, it's a really nice shirt. And then about 10 minutes later, we got the text with the ad read and stuff. So I loved it before I even knew we were promoting it.
So we want you to upgrade your wardrobe. True Classic, a bunch of different colors, fits great. Get 25% off at trueclassic.com with the code today. Free shipping included on purchases over $100. It's 100% risk-free guarantee with a 30-day return policy as well. Stay classy with True Classic. Your dad bod will thank you. We continue on with the show, and boy, some good weekends for teams in Los Angeles and in St. Louis in the National League. Dodgers sweep a set against the Padres. Cardinals sweep their first ever series against the Yanks. Which one was a bigger deal to you?
I mean, you know which one was a bigger deal. These Dodgers basically giving the middle finger to the Padres trade deadline moves. We don't care. We're the Dodgers. They sweep San Diego. Trey Turner had some fun quotes, man. He says, you can write as many articles as you want, but I think our view of it might be different. Not in a good or a bad way. I think they got a lot better. They don't care, though. Dodgers don't care. Because what they do, Chris, instead of obviously they made moves at the deadline, but they just seemingly get these guys to step up. Tyler Anderson hasn't allowed an earned run in 4 of his last 5 starts. That's just not typical. Okay. You got a guy like Tony Gonsolin kind of coming out of nowhere. These guys are just both kind of afterthoughts. They're both all-stars this year, both pitched in this series and do well. It's I was shocked at the outcome of that series. I really was. I thought it'd be a hard battled series. I thought San Diego would come out and do something and maybe have a statement win. It was the other way around. Dodgers come out and sweep them 8-1, 8-3, 4-0, and they just do it. And they remind you, oh yeah, we're the Dodgers. Muncy hasn't even got going yet. He hits a big homer in this series, but this is another team that's going to get better by getting their guys healthy. I know Kershaw's we don't know what's going to go on with him. I don't know if there's been any official word on when a timetable for him, but Buehler will be coming back. Dustin May will be coming back. Like, this is a team that they embody the next man up mentality, but it's not like it's next superstar up, basically.
Yeah. Well,
I choose that series.
Yeah. And the Dodgers, with all of their pitching health woes this year in both the rotation and the bullpen, right? Because they haven't had Blake Trinan. They lost Daniel Hudson for the year. Like, they've had to really piece it together. They've given up the fewest runs in the league, which is pretty remarkable. With all that being said, nothing that the Dodgers do surprises me, and they outscored the Padres 20-4. I think what the Cardinals have done is pretty impressive, because let's remember, they were reportedly in the Juan Soto sweepstakes. We showed that shot of Rizzo and Mozeliak. We were like, ooh, let's connect some dots. Didn't happen. They picked up a couple of left-handed starting pitchers in Quintana and Montgomery. Now the Cardinals, they sweep a 6-game homestand. They've won 7 in a row. They've got a nice little lead in the NL Central, because that's corresponded with the Brewers' falter ever since the Josh Hader trade. And I think one great little story that came out of the Cardinals weekend was the return of Paul DeJong. He was in the minors for 2.5 months. Sorry. Holy shit. I almost made it way worse for sleep-deprived Rose. For 2.5 months, Paulie's going, Jesus, Rose, I know it felt like 2.5 years, but it was only 2.5 months. And he came back. He probably, you know what, Plouffe? It's possible he thought his Cardinals career was over when he went down.
100%.
You know, and for him to get a big home run this weekend and do some nice things, and now he's got the opportunity to be their everyday shortstop again. Just a good deal for it. I love stories like that.
I think he got to the triple-digit homer club too, didn't he? Didn't he hit his 100th homer?
I believe you're correct.
So I got to welcome Paul. Welcome to the club, bro.
I also loved I think sometimes the whole Cardinal way and Cardinal fans being the best in baseball is sometimes a little overblown. I think they are great fans. There's no question about it. I think there's a lot of really good groups of baseball fans, because I just love baseball fans. But when Matt Carpenter returned, yes, and Yachty gave him the hug and stepped in front of the plate, I think they do that better than anybody else. I think when guys return back to St. Louis, because it was a rough final few seasons for Matt Carpenter there in St. Louis, I think it's great.
Yeah, no, it's amazing seeing him going back to DeJong. Like, he had a good quote too. He says, early in the year, I might have dreaded an opportunity like that. You know, that's crazy to hear, but it's true. Like, when you're struggling and like you get put up in a big situation, you're like a lot of times in your mind, you start thinking, well, how bad can this get? Instead of, when you're going well, being like, give me the opportunities. That's the mindset you have to be in as a big leaguer, especially as a hitter. You just have to be so confident, like overly confident. That's why I'm the way I am, Chris. I had to train my freaking brain. Like, you have to be that way. Now he's relishing the opportunities and taking advantage of them. So, like, great story. I totally agree. 2.5 years, like you said, in the minor leagues. I'm just joking. It wasn't that long.
Sorry.
Wake up, Chris.
I know. Well, months, years. What at my age, that's what it feels like sometimes.
111 years old. That's crazy.
Hey, listen, I'm still pushing through on baseball today, young man. All right, on the day that the Phillies honored their first ever World Series championship team, the 1980 squad, they ended up sweeping a 4-gamer against lowly Washington. They're now 12 over 500. They are currently the second wild card team in the National League. Are you shocked Philly has had this big a turnaround since they made the managerial move?
I'd be lying. I'd be lying if I didn't say yes. Of course, I'm shocked. I believe I came on this show after Harper went down. I think you asked me, are the Phillies done? And I believe, we have to go back and check the tape here. Please, nobody go check the tape. I think I said, I believe in them, but yes, I think they're done. I've always believed in the Phillies.
You grabbed one shovel and threw shit on the Phillies and then the other one on the Mariners. I just want to let you know you were shit.
That's not true. No. I've always believed in the Phillies, but losing Harper, I thought it would be really tough in this division, but they just found a way to do it. I mean, Bohm has been incredible. You know, he's been doing his thing. Reese has been great. They've had a lot of great performances from the guys that we said, you got to step up. Like when your de facto MVP goes down, other guys have to step up and play that role of being that type of leader. And fortunately for the Phillies, they have a roster full of guys that can do it. Like they just need to all click at the same time. It looks like they're doing it. I think they have like a 98% chance to be in the playoffs now, according to Fangraphs or whatever. Like this team is so fun to watch. I hope Harper comes back and joins, and you never know what can happen, man. Like I'm excited to see Philly play meaningful baseball at the end of September and into October, dude. I
am too. So a few things here. One is Bryce Harper's not their de facto MVP. He is the MVP.
Okay. Yeah. He's won an MVP. I think two of them.
I want to credit Joe's McFly for pointing this out. When we were kicking dirt in the face to the Phillies, he said, I'm not going to let them die just yet because they have yet to play the Washington Nationals. They still had 19 games against the Washington Nationals at that point. I was like, that's a great point. And so now I'm not saying that's the reason they're in the position they're in, but sometimes that could give you a little bit of a confidence boost. They hit 14 homers in this 4-game series. That's the most ever by a Phillies team in a series. And also, you know, the Phillies have only won 2 World Series in their history. 1980.
It seems light to me. I thought they'd have more. It is light
for an old franchise. 1980, 2008. This Phillies team has a better record through 108 games than either of those squads. Just saying.
Okay.
Just saying. And by the way, how can you not give Rob Thompson the job?
Look, the guy has been around for so long, around so many good teams, been around managers that people say are great. The guy has his own style. There's a reason that he's had the job that he's had. Like people rely on him to set things up. So I agree. I think he's got a great demeanor for it. I think he's got a hold of that clubhouse. I think guys really trust him and respect him because he is so meticulous with his planning, and he is a good communicator. Like I didn't play that long with him, but like I grew to really, really like him, and we shared moments together. And you know, what's funny? I bet a lot of people feel that way. I felt special around Topper, but I bet he makes a lot of people feel that way. So now I'm actually kind of mad at him for playing that card on me, but whatever. Look, the Phillies made some good deadline moves. They already had a pretty good roster.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun team.
Yep.
Fun team.
Let's go, Bryce. Do those thumb exercises. Let's get you back on the field. All right, finally, quite an explosive weekend for a Double-A team, the Trash Pandas, who accidentally shot fireworks into a hillside where people were enjoying the fireworks. Thankfully, we can do this story because nobody was injured. How shocked are you that this is the Angels Double-A affiliate?
That is brutal. Why? I didn't know you were going to go there with that. Don't make me laugh at that. This looks dangerous. Like what happened here? Did something just like fall on its side and we got a bunch of Roman candles going everywhere? Like that, those don't look like Roman candles. Those look like fireworks are supposed to go bang in the sky, but they're getting shot at people. And are you sure no one got hurt?
Nobody got hurt. I wouldn't have done the story if somebody got hurt. So I checked. There were no reports of injuries. I mean, we avoided a catastrophe. There's no question. But I thought over the last decade, we have talked incessantly in this sport about launch angle.
Those are low liners.
Yeah. What are we doing? Get the fireworks off the ground, guys.
Are you saying Artie Moreno set those fireworks up himself? Is that what you're saying, Chris?
I'm saying that whomever they hired in this organization, it has all gone the wrong direction this year.
Did he overpay for those fireworks too? Man, it's fun to bag on the Angels.
Was this a Zach Cozart of and Gary Matthews Jr. of fireworks?
Nice name there, Zach Cozart. All right, former Reds
He's a
shortstop.
good player, man. I
He
wish he'd
was.
done better out there. God.
Never got it going.
All right, what do you have coming up on John Boy Media?
Directly after this, I'll join my guys talking baseball, and we'll do series recaps. So I have the International League. I'll be talking about the Cardinals-Yankees series, the Pittsburgh Orioles, and Giants-A's, I believe.
Okay, can I just do my Jimmy impression?
Yes.
Let's get Peraza up here. Where's
Everyone
Peraza?
wants Peraza. It's kind of ridiculous. Look, the guy's a good player. I hope he comes up and does some things, but they're just panicking. I told Yankees fans this was coming. You can't be the way they were all season long. It doesn't work that way. There are peaks and valleys during a season. I tried to set them up for it, but they're still panicking.
All right. Latest Rose rotation dropped earlier on Monday with Jonathan Papelbon. We went everywhere. We talked about the Bryce Harper incident, talked about why it didn't end pretty in Philly, what it's like for him to walk around Boston, what he's doing with his time these days, whether or not he was a good teammate or not. Does he have any regrets of the way that he acted? I don't know. We talked about everything for 45 minutes. It was a little bit all over the place, which I thought was kind of interesting. I don't agree with everything that he said. I told that to his face. I didn't like the crotch grab when he did it. We had a discussion, but we've known each other for a long time. I felt like I asked what I needed to ask, and he answered everything. To his credit, he answered everything.
I watched the clip, and he was.
Now wait till you hear the Bryce Harper stuff.
Yeah. I'm interested because he's a polarizing character or
Totally.
subject. Like
Totally. But I appreciate him coming on. I mean, that's what it's about. You can make whatever judgments you want. That's fine. And then we will be recording. I'm going to be busy tomorrow. I got to record one episode before I see you with Trevor May, and then one episode later in the day with Ryan Howard. So that'll be fun. Yeah.
Just talking to a bunch of Phillies legends, man. Me and Howard. That's it.
All right, listen, this is always a blast. Want to thank producer extraordinaire, the one and only Dan Rourke, our summer intern, Sam Singer, as well, who's joining us from, is it Kennebunkport, Maine? What? He's hanging out with the family this weekend. Mm-hmm. That is Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Tuesday on Baseball Today, presented to you by our friends at True Classic.